So there's players who physically look like and play like the best basketball players in history. So Tim Duncan, he doesn't really look like he'd be the greatest player. But um, there's other players who just look like they have a basketball body. So Dwight Howard, Wilt Chamberlain, and that other guy. So you got like the three that there's three that really stand out is Dwight Howard, Wilt Chamberlain, and Kevin Durant. So like Shaq doesn't look like he would be the best basketball player if you looked at his body, but Dwight Howard does. Kobe Bryant, he looks like he'd be a good player. Now Magic Johnson doesn't. Larry Bird doesn't. Maybe Steph Curry doesn't. So you have players who look like they could be great, and that's what I've been thinking about because like Russell Westbrook, I mean, man. So that's not to say that most players look like. I mean, if in real life they look like freaking gods, whatever. But so you're thinking about Dwight Howard. I mean, you just look at that guy and it's like he's beautiful. He's just built perfectly. Like he has a pretty face, and his body, his muscles. I mean, he's just chiseled, and the way he played when he was dominant. I mean, you kind of wonder, like, would you choose Dwight over Shaq? Because I mean, Dwight, man. I mean, defense, he's taking care of that. Rebounds, he's taking care of that. Now scoring, that's where you can get into a little debate. Because obviously Shaq could score more, but man, so that would be a hard choice. Now, I would say in the history of the NBA, the player that looks the best and plays the best. So you combine those two, who would it be? I would say it would probably be Dwight. It'd probably be a tie between Chamberlain and Dwight Howard at the center spot. And then I don't know about the guards. Maybe a Chris Paul. I don't know. But Kevin Durant's got to be in there somewhere because he's kind of lanky, but just the way he played, man, the way he plays is just interesting. And I would say Kevin Durant might be the most perfect. Kevin Durant might be the most perfect player ever, as far as length. So length, shooting, speed. So length, shooting, speed. Length meaning influence over the court. Kevin Durant is almost like I don't know if you would say he is a Nowitzki hybrid, but if you were to say, out of all the players, who's like the most perfect basketball player? Like, this guy is basketball. Now, I mean, you could argue Jordan and Kobe and stuff like that, but it's like Jordan and Kobe don't catch the length of basketball. So that's what I'm saying. You know, it's like Kobe's a great shooter. He can dunk, stuff like that. But it's like he can't really ball with the centers, you know, defend the centers or whatever. I mean, Durant, man. I mean, if you were to, what I'm saying is like, if you could choose one player out of the history of the NBA who represents the totality of basketball, and you could argue Jordan and Kobe. I mean, you could argue LeBron, but LeBron's kind of bulky. You know, he's not really. He wouldn't represent a guard. But Durant is really unique, really weird, because he's like a guard. You know, he's got some handles, and he can dunk, and he can block, and it's like he's good at passing. I mean, dude, they need to change the NBA logo, and it needs to be Kevin Durant, because he represents the totality of basketball.